Hello everyone, it's Junie. I wanted to jump on real quick and talk to you guys about this whole fanatical thing going on with the Delphi murders of Abby and Libby, and how the F tree has literally just thrown everybody for a loop, and we have people hyper focused on the F tree. And that, it's supposed to look like Fehu, the rune, which means abundance and wealth and luck and the mother of magic. Think of this rune as Freya, and that the magic is coming from her womb, okay? We're going to go over just real quick about the meaning of these runes and how I just don't see it, guys. I mean, and look, I know I'm a Wiccan. I'm not a pagan. I do believe in God. I am a Christian witch. I am a Christian Wiccan. And I know a lot of witches out here and pagans have this political or religious axe to grind with you guys. I honestly don't. I really don't. I just want to give honor and justice to the way that Abby and Libby died, and I want them to have truth and honor to their death. And I don't want this racist cult, which no doubt exists. Cults do exist, and people do crazy things. I mean, could Richard of Allen have been kicked out of his little cult buddies, and it really messed with him, and he has these ideas in his head? That's very possible. But as far as it being multiple people killing these girls and doing what Richard Allen did, I am questioning this whole cult vibe thing, okay? In my heart of hearts, I know it's not a cult killing, because the first thing that a cult wouldn't mess up is the rune. The rune is the most magical and important part of a sacrifice. If this was a sacrifice, most pagans, they didn't sacrifice. They killed political prisoners. They sacrificed political prisoners in a very public manner to install fear in the kings and queens of England. They sacrificed priests and things like that, because, you have to think of it just like what's happening right now in Israel. They are killing innocent and shedding innocent blood of women and children because they want to install fear into all of us, okay? It's like using a political prisoner as a sacrifice really stuck it to the kings and queens. And they go after priests and the kings and queens' sons, family members within that royal family. Political prisoners, because they wanted to install fear into the general public and into a power like the monarchy, okay? So, first of all, if this was a sacrifice, they wouldn't have screwed up the rune. The rune is the first thing they would have gotten correct. Now, I'm doing this on my cell phone, so just bear with me. But let's just say, okay? Let's say that this is a rune. There would be nothing on the other side here. Nothing should be over here. These runes hold magical power. They're for protection, and they give you power. Just like Hitler abused the runes to give him ultimate power. The runes did bless him with power, but when he was doing wrong, the power of the runes destroy you. That's the thing about these racist groups. You're abusing these runes. You're abusing the true meaning of these runes. They were never meant to install hate and fear. So let's just act like it was a sacrifice, okay? This is no disrespect to Abby and Libby. What I'm saying is this. If this was a true sacrifice, and as a person that studies the runes, uses the runes, you guys know we do rune readings here every single day. I pull runes every single day, okay? There should be nothing here. Nothing. These up and down lines, nope. That doesn't belong on Freya's rune, okay? Another thing is, this is what it's supposed to look like. Freya's body, her arms, and her womb is supposed to be longer. I might have over-exaggerated that bottom line, but usually the bottom rune line is longer because it represents Freya's womb. The magic comes from her womb. Okay? The protection comes from the mother's womb. We are birthed from our mother's womb, right? The power, the placenta, giving birth to new, protection, grace, protection of animals, protection of your children. No, I don't see it. No matter how many times I look at this rune on this F tree, I don't see it. And what's this? Like, if you were going to make a sacrifice, if you went through all this trouble to get these girls out in this isolated location, you went through all this trouble to kill these two girls for a sacrifice, the most important part of your ritual would be the frickin' rune. It's the one part that you wouldn't mess up. You got one job to do, and that's getting the rune right. Because that's where the magic and the power is. Right? So Freya's rune, she's got nothing written over here. That takes away from her power. The power of protection. So you wouldn't have these smudges over here of blood. Okay? So that's another big no-no. Why I'm saying it's not a rune. And these little edges here should not exist if this is a true sacrifice. Okay, let's say that if it was real, which it's not real. That's why I'm trying to give honor and truth for Abby and Libby. And we need to be practical and we need to be smart about this and not add to the gasoline that's being spread on this F tree cult member thing, okay? A man can do a lot of things with two little girls that are terrified of a gun and want to save their best friend's life. They would be willing to take their own clothes off. They'd be willing to give their friend their pants because he's holding a gun and you want your best friend to live. You'd be willing to sexually satisfy your killer to have your other friend live. And I believe in my heart of hearts that's what he did. I'm not saying that he did sexually assault them, but I'm saying that if a man wants complete power and control over two young girls, he could get them to do anything for the one best friend to save her other best friend's life. Think about that. A man has a gun pointed at your best friend's head and he tells you to take your pants off and take your shoes off. You're going to do it. You don't need more than one man to do that. You're going to want to save your best friend, your childhood best friend's life, because it meant the world to you. And he used their love. He used their love against them. The love that these two girls had for each other, he used it. Now, if it was a human sacrifice, which doesn't make sense to me, because if this was a human sacrifice, why would you sacrifice two white girls? Would you not sacrifice the other race? Let's not forget, Odin was a poet and he was a warrior king. He was knowledgeable in music, knowledgeable in poetry. He wrote the first alphabet, the runes, okay? He was able to express himself. Prior to that, we have the Celts runes, which is basically like lines that look like this. You know, there's runes older than Odin's runes from the Celtish. And it was just lines. You know how we got the original 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? That's a rune. Little did you know. Okay? So, if you were going to go through all this trouble to sacrifice 2 beautiful white girls, which makes no sense if you're a racist, white supremacist, white cult, why are you going to kill 2 white girls? You would kill the other race. You would sacrifice the other race. So that doesn't make sense. It would be more political too. You'd want attention from it. So that's another thing that doesn't add up. And the thing as a Wiccan, as a person who studies runes and uses the runes every day in our readings, as a person who watches rune readings, who subscribe to hundreds of channels that do rune readings, I'm going to tell you that the rune you wouldn't mess up. When we do it in our spell work, that rune is precise. Because the rune itself is magical. So why would we mess it up here? Why would we mess it up here? Why would we mess it up there? Why would we mess it up on this whole other side? There shouldn't be anything here, especially, because that takes away from her power. From the rune's power. This doesn't belong there. I don't know what the hell that is. That doesn't belong there. This doesn't belong there. This doesn't belong there. None of this down here belongs there. That big smear of blood doesn't belong. So it doesn't make sense. The magic is in the runes. Just like when Hitler did his SS runes. Right? That SS rune, it's a solo rune. It means the power of the sun. Okay? And they didn't mess it up when they put it into their uniforms and they got the badges for the Nazi soldiers, the SS soldiers for Hitler's army. They didn't mess it up because the power is in the rune. But what they forget, the curse of these runes is if you abuse your power, not for the greater good of the people, the runes will destroy you. Every gift that the rune gave you, it will seek to destroy you. And that's where Hitler got it wrong. Himmler got it wrong too. Himmler didn't understand the true beautiful meaning of these runes. And they abused it. And they lost everything. So, think about it. White supremacists abuse these runes because they think that it gives them power because they're a bunch of dorks, okay? I mean, seriously. They're not even following the Greeks. The Romans used to call anyone that couldn't speak Latin or Greek, you were considered a barbarian, okay? Now, Odin was racist against Rome. He hated the Roman army. You know, how the gods and the goddesses of war, how they fought back then, okay? She means luck. She means to protect your cattle, wealth, because a lot of cattle could get sick. And if your cattle got sick, your whole village got sick. Your whole kingdom, your whole Viking kingdom could get sick, okay? She's connected to growth, prosperity, your higher status, value, financial worries, you know, losing value and regaining your wealth. She's about sheep too, sheep and cattle, which if you think about back in ancient times, sheep were very important. You got milk from them. You got cheese from them. Same with cattle, okay? So none of this makes sense that you would use it in a sacrifice to sacrifice 2 little white girls. I mean, I hope you guys are seeing what I'm saying here. And I'm not doing this to have an axe to grind with you. I don't have an axe to grind with you. I'm just trying to give Abby and Libby some peace in the other side, and that their truth be told, and no more lies being told, okay? No more lies. Here's the Nazi SS rune. Has nothing to do with Nazis. Himmler and Hitler abused this rune, okay? It literally means the power of the sun, the power of fire, victory, to win a war, okay? But they abused their power, and that's why they ended up killing themselves, unaliving themselves. You know, Hitler took a cyanide pill and he shot himself with his brand new wife for one day, Eva Braun. You know, they're cowards. And they were not successful in their war, were they? Everything crumbled around them, brick by brick. The runes will destroy you if you abuse them. So it's very important that when you're writing a rune in your magic or you're carving it into a tree, that you at least get the rune correct. It wouldn't be sloppy. It would be precise, and so you wouldn't miss it, okay? The only one that I could think that possibly use it in a sacrifice would be not even really a sacrifice. Like, we'll use this rune right here, Isa, which means ice, which it means to freeze somebody. Like, you know, you hear of freezer spells, okay? We do freezer spells all the time to freeze somebody's evil, to freeze somebody's bad behavior or bad habits, to freeze somebody's addiction, to freeze somebody's abuse, to freeze somebody's cheating, something like that, right? You know, we'll sometimes carve this rune into our candles, okay? But if you look at the definitions: insight, communication, fertility, growth. This is Bracana. That's where we get the letter B from. It stands for the birch tree, okay? Degas, awakening, embarking, enterprise, a breakthrough, transportation. Here's Feyu. Abundance, wealth, luck, energy, foresight, fertility, and creation. So why would you put that on a sacrifice of 2 white girls if you're a white supremacist group? It doesn't make sense. That's our rune right there. And in here you can see her head is longer because this is Mother Freya, and the luck and the prosperity is coming from her womb, okay? So it doesn't make sense that you would kill somebody or sacrifice somebody, guys. It's like, let's just be smart here. Let's be smart. None of these definitions mean to sacrifice anything. And I'm not saying that they didn't sacrifice. They did. But it would be a political prisoner of war. Okay? It wasn't women and children. Women and children were worth more than gold to be human trafficked, to be sold as slaves, sex slaves. I'm sorry, we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty stuff here. And it wasn't pretty. Vikings weren't nice. They weren't friendly. And when they came and knocked on your door, they killed all the men. And if you were a powerful man, they made a spectacle of you. They killed you very publicly, okay? You were sacrificed not for the gods. You were sacrificed to install fear in the king and the queen of England, or of the king of France, okay? Rollo and the other Viking, the famous Viking, I can't think of his name right now. He's one of my favorite Vikings. There's Rollo. I don't know, they just made a show about him, you know. They were into using fear tactics, okay? The women would file their teeth to make them look like monsters. So when you were getting killed by a Viking woman, you were terrified. They didn't look like other women. They were scary. They had shield maidens, okay? These women were no joke. Again, it's all about growth and fertility, travel. These were a sea-fearing nation. I mean, these men and women built beautiful boats and sailed across the sea, okay? So these runes were meant to give them protection from the sea as well, okay? But do you see anything written here that says to sacrifice 2 little white girls? Odin would think you were a coward. Odin would think it would be cowardice to sacrifice 2 little white girls. And stupid, because he'd say, you could support your family for life selling a woman and 2 little white girl women, okay, that are young and healthy. They would be excellent slaves. They wouldn't sacrifice them. Now, if their fathers were somebody political or knew the king and the queen of England or the king and queen in France, then absolutely your dad would be sacrificed. But the 2 little girls, no. Odin hated the Romans because of the way that they did treat women during slave trade. Okay, he didn't there's lots of things that Odin hated about the Romans. And he was racist against the Romans, but he wasn't racist against a certain color of skin. It was more so their politics he was racist against, and how the Romans came in and it just controlled everything. So I mean, let's go over this, guys. Seriously, look. If we are to say that this was a sacrifice, the rune is supposed to look like this. coming from her belly. Okay? Do you see that? No, I don't see it. I see splatter here, here, up here, splatter here, a big chunk of something here. There's some weird arrow happening here. I don't know what that is. That doesn't match the runes. Something's down here. That doesn't match the runes. Something over here. Splatter blood there. Splatter of blood there. Here. Okay, so let's go back to where everybody's saying that they see this F. Right? I don't see it. That does not look like our Freyu rune. That would not have any magical power to it at all, guys. I'm sorry, it doesn't. There's no magic here. To me, it looks like a smear. There's even more blood here. Like more part of it going the opposite direction. This is what it's supposed to look like. And that's what we got. Please, let's give Abby and Libby some honor in their death. I do not see a cult. There's even some weird blood there. I do not see a cult. I see a man that had a gun and had these girls take off their clothes. And he used their love for one another to control them. That's what I see. I do not see a rune. I do not see a cult. And if this was a sacrifice, they seriously screwed it up. And the one thing that they should have got right was the damn rune. And the rune is totally messed up. It's not a rune. It's not our Fehu rune. It's not Freya, Mother Goddess of life, of protecting your livestock, of protecting your cattle and your sheep. The protection comes from her womb. I don't see any of that. So let's please focus. There is no cult killing here, okay? There is no cult killing. It's just a man with a gun and two frightened little girls that loved each other. And he got them to remove their clothes. And he got them to do whatever he asked them to do. And let's say that he does have some of these ideologies. Maybe he tried to write Freya's rune, but he screwed it up. And if this was a sacrifice, they screwed it up. They totally screwed it up. Why would you use that rune to sacrifice two little girls? None of these runes mean to sacrifice anything. Let's please give our victims grace, not lies. Let's remember that if this was a sacrifice, the most important symbol of the whole sacrifice wouldn't have been screwed up. It would have been perfect and precise. The whole rune is wrong. So it's not a rune. Just a man with a gun, knowing that these two girls loved each other, and he was able to get them to do whatever he asked them to do. And if that means taking their pants off and giving it to the other girl to put on, then that's what they did, to try to save the other. Like, you have the word sacrifice here, but it's not like you think. This is marriage. This is an X that you would see when people got married. Or they made a business contract together. And there's great sacrifice in marriage. There's great sacrifice in relationships. Not sacrificing children. There's nothing here that says sacrifice children. these are the runes that Hitler abused. There's a couple of other ones that he abused too. Just like the racist cult that's there in Idaho. I forget, the triangles, the Norse triangles. Those triangles do not mean to sacrifice children either. The original meaning of that is heaven, hell, and yourself. Your spirit, heaven and earth, basically. Heaven and hell. And it honors fallen soldiers that have died. So it doesn't have anything to do with sacrificing children either. It's just racists get this so screwed up because they think Norse blood, Swedish blood, you know, Norway's blood is pure blood because they're blonde and blue eyes, which is horseshit, okay? We're all mixed up. You racists that are worshiping Odin, he wasn't racist. He was just a human trafficker, okay? And he would have never have sacrificed 2 little white girls. And he would think that you all are cowardice. He'd think that you're cowards. You're abusing his runes and you will never be successful. Look at Hitler. Hitler should be a prime example of why you should not abuse these magical runes. They are powerful. They do hold magic. So why would somebody go through the whole sacrifice of killing 2 little girls and screwing it up? Like, that's a big screw up. That's a big screw up. And everything over here is a screw up. This is a screw up. Down here is a screw up. All of it is a screw up if it's a sacrifice. So why go through all that just to screw up the most important part? It doesn't make sense. Honor Abby and Libby. They tried to save each other. And he used a gun and fear to get them to take their clothes off. Don't forget that. And also, don't forget to check out Kirsty McIntosh's video. She mapped Richard Allen right to his work. Her lines go right to that man's work for astrology. She mapped him out. We knew exactly what he looked like. She knew exactly who he was before we even found him. And where he worked. The line goes right through CVS. So check out her video too. Alright, blessings to you all. God bless Abby and Libby. I'm so sorry that her family is going through this. So let's honor them and give them truth. There is no rune here. It's just a sloppy mess. And a crazy man with a gun. None of this is a rune. Doesn't make any damn sense. Blessings to you all. Bye-bye.